Good, good day. We are just going to start a new program called Clinical Research Training Program, and I'm going to be your lecturer. I'm Professor Tokes from IIT Director of Programs. And the first thing we're going to look through the slides. So the topic is Clinical Research Training Program. It covers SOCRA, Society for Clinical Research Associates. It covers some AC associates, associate association of clinical research professionals curriculum too. So we have so much to share on this. So the first is the importance introduction. We have a manual that we'll be using, and that manual we're going to supply to the students that decides to come for training. So we're going to start with chapter 1. What exactly is clinical research? So chapter 1 provides an overview of clinical trials, setting the stage for detailed discussions that follow in the manual. This chapter lays the groundwork by explaining the fundamental concepts, significance, and structure of clinical trials as a vital components of medical research. What are the key concepts? 1. Definition of clinical trials. Clinical trials are systemic studies conducted to evaluate the safety, efficacy, and effectiveness of medications, devices, or interventions in human subjects. They are essential for advancing medical knowledge and improving patient care. Key concept 2, phases of clinical trials. Clinical trials are typically divided into 4 phases, each with distinct objectives. Phase 1 focuses on safety and dosage, involving a small number of healthy volunteers, so about 10 to 20. Phase 2 expands to a larger group to assess efficacy and further evaluate safety. And phase 3 involves large populations to confirm effectiveness, monitor side effects, and compare with standard or equivalent treatments. Whether it is inferior, whether it is equivalent, or whether it is superior. Then phase 4 is conducted after a drug is been approved, marketed to gather additional information on risks, benefits, and optimal use. This phase 4 is when the drug or the device has already been approved, but now it's now in a large population. So you see something that you could not detect when it was under trials. The next one is the importance of clinical trials and regulatory oversight and ethical consideration. We started with the importance of clinical trials. Clinical trials are crucial for regulatory approval of new treatments and contribute to evidence-based medicine. They help identify effective therapies and improve patient outcome by ensuring treatments are safe and beneficial. Regulatory oversight. This chapter discusses the role of regulatory bodies such as FDA in overseeing clinical trials to ensure participants' safety and scientific integrity. We also, under regulatory oversight, we have peer review, such as institutional review boards. It's also called ethics committees, are also mentioned as entities that review or approve research protocols to protect the rights and welfare of participants. We have ethical considerations, emphasizing the importance of ethical practices in clinical research, including obtaining informed consent and ensuring participant confidentiality, discussing the need for transparency and accountability in conducting trials. Sample key key terminologies, sample formula, and sample calculation. Key terminologies introduce terms such as informed consent, randomization, blinding, placebo control, which are foundation to understanding clinical trials. Informed consent is very paramount. No procedure should be conducted without obtaining informed consent. Randomization is to make sure there's the probability of equal chances of occurrence, whereby the randomization numbers are used to select the various subjects or allocation of subjects to different groups. And blinding, same thing as masking, is to ensure that there's no bias because there's something called double blind, whereby the principal investigator and all the staff and the subject or patient do not have an idea of whether it's a placebo, an active device or an active drug, especially is being administered on any of the subjects. So the blinding makes it to be objective. So sample formula. While chapter 1 primarily focuses on definitions and concepts rather than formulas, some basic calculations related to sample size and trial statistics may be introduced later. However, a fundamental understanding of statistics is crucial for clinical trials. A little bit, not too much. So we have the common calculations clinical trials is we're talking of the sample size, and that is n. N is a fraction of a population. So we're going to use examples to demonstrate this. N is required sample size. Z is from Z table corresponding to desired confidence level. P is the estimated proportion of the population, and E is the margin of error. So sample question 1. Question: what is the primary purpose of clinical trial? A, to sell new medications. B, to evaluate the safety and effectiveness of treatments. C, to increase the pharmaceutical profit. D, to protect the side effects of existing drugs. Yes, you can write down your answer, and that is A, B, C, or D. Question 2. Which phase of clinical trials focuses primarily on assessing safety and dosage? A, phase 1, B, phase 2, C, phase 3, D, phase 4. The next question. Question 3. What role do institutional review boards play in clinical trials? A, they conduct the trials. B, they review and approve research protocols to protect participants. C, they fund the trials. D, they analyze the trial data. I pause for 30 seconds. Figure out whether it's A, B, C, or D. And question 4. In clinical research, what does informed consent refer to? A, the approval of the study by FDA. B, participant given permission to be part of the trial after being fully informed of the risks and benefits. C, illegal document signing. D, the process of randomizing patients. Pause for 1 minute to figure out the answer, either A, B, C, or D. Finally, question 5. Which of the following terms describes a study design that keeps the participants unaware of whether they are receiving the treatment or a placebo? A, open label. B, blinded, double-blinded. D, placebo-controlled. Yeah, you now see the answers. For 1 is B. For 2 is A, phase 1. For 3 is B. For 4 is B. And the last one, the last one is with hidden here. And the last one, I'm trying to get it up. The last one is C. So you can see it because 2 is 2. In conclusion, Chapter 1 serves as introduction to the essential elements of clinical trials, outlining their purposes, phases, regulatory oversight, and ethical considerations. Understanding these fundamental concepts is critical for anyone involved in clinical trial research. This chapter prepares the reader for the more detailed discussion that follows in subsequent chapters, highlighting the importance of rigorous scientific methodology and ethical practice in advancing medical knowledge. The inclusion of sample questions reinforces questions to reinforce comprehensions and allow readers to assess their understanding of the materials. We are from IIT and the address is there in case you need to contact us. Thank you.